Okay, go.
All right, and here we go. Welcome to the 71st episode of You Had Me at Halo, where we discuss everything to do with one of gaming's most storied franchises. 4 weeks later, it's been 4 weeks since Season 3, and what was 343 start to what is expected to be a regular cadence. So we've now had a time to assess the situation. What's our thoughts? 4 weeks into the season, but more importantly, what's our thoughts on the state of Halo 1.5 years later? We'll also talk about whose cat's going to fuck up the podcast.
The intro.
There's always going to be something, Mike. I didn't mess it up, and you did. But
good job, Tigger.
We'll also talk about Joe Staten leaving. And also meet a new staff member of Xbox Era who happens to be a 343 employee. We'll get some thoughts from him. But let's go ahead.
Former
3. That's what I said. Formerly, the artist formerly known as a 343 employee. I don't know where we're going.
For those listening, let us know about the audio, if it's too high, too low, that kind of stuff.
If you like the cats ruining our podcast. Or we should lock them away next time. So let's go ahead and meet our Spartan team. First, I should mention today, if you probably noticed, Austin is off, but hopefully he'll be back with us next time. He's in the midst of moving. But first up, let's introduce our a new guest, a new Xbox Era member,
a new challenger.
welcome to the cesspool of Reddit. Oh no, I'm just kidding. Spartanic, aka Mr. Iron Wolf. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here again, and actually part of the team.
Yeah, it's awesome. So for people who don't know, we did have a special episode, a side episode of You Had Me at Halo, where we interviewed Mr. Nick, aka Mr. Iron Wolf, and talked to him about his experiences at 343. Also, I mean, and we'll get more into this later on, Nick, but also some of your experiences running the Forge Hub, right? Yep. Over there. So you've been around Halo for a long time. So you bring a lot of insights and some unique experiences, I think, that nobody else on the panel has. So look forward to diving in later on that. Next up, we got Spartan Aarsal, a.k.a. Mr. SoulBlazerz. How's it going, man?
Going pretty good. Not gonna lie, when I first read that title, all I could think of was the zombie movie. But then just 5 minutes ago, I realized I was 28 weeks later. Yeah. Good movie, though. So also Nick is now Nick, and old Nick is now old Nick. All right? That is...
Or other Nick is like I like
or other Nick, yeah. Well, he's old too, so old works.
I wonder if I'm older than him, or I don't know.
Are you more than 43?
No, then never mind. Old man.
I'm still the oldest.
Oldest.
Yep. Next up, we got Spartan Mike, aka Mr. Kagemaru. Not the oldest. How you doing, man?
Hey guys. Yeah, good. Just being blurry as usual.
Yeah. Focus work, the camera thing.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I just blend into the background. If I switch the resolution, it gets all nice and sharp.
Ooh, nice. You're good now.
Oh.
Hey, I want to know, if you switch the resolution, can you get up to 60 frames? I'm just kidding. We won't talk about that. It's a different podcast.
Fine. Then if you switch resolution, can you get split screen campaign working?
It is an Xbox Era podcast. Since we're connected to Xbox, we do not have to deliver on all the expectations we've set up to this point.
King Bill the 26th. This is a Halo podcast, all right? Did I get that number right? Honestly, I can't read Roman numerals.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah,
well,
I am excited for Tekken
8. Finally, I'm your host, Spartan Abe, a.k.a. OneBadMutha. All right, guys, let's jump into it. I guess let's start with something. I don't know if this is a lighter note, but it's probably a simpler topic. So we know Joe Staten is he had already left 343. He went back, obviously, to his old position. He's now on to new adventures. And let's just, I thought it'd be a good time, talk a little bit about Joe, kind of some things that come to mind with him. And, any thoughts you have about him and, the fact that he's no longer at Microsoft. It does feel like a little bit of a end of an era. I think he was like the last really notable name connected to the old Bungie days. I'm sure there's still some Bungie employees somewhere in 343, but it does feel like
Frank
was
O'Connor.
the last.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but we don't even hear from Frank anymore. We don't know what he's doing. They got him locked. I think they got him locked somewhere.
He's working on that show, hopefully making season 2 better.
Season 2 should already be filmed then. Where the hell is it? I want to watch it already.
What, season 2?
Yeah, where the hell is it? It should have been filmed already.
I want them to take all the time they need to make it as good. Hopefully they're rewriting the script. And
hopefully they've seen the Last of Us show.
Yes.
And took it, some notes from that.
Like, seriously, just make it a nice iteration.
Guys, don't get me started.
Make it a nice iteration of the game. That's all. Like, if they don't,
if you want to adopt Halo C, it has to be a movie. It can't be a TV show. The budget's not there. Is how I'm looking at it. It has to be like a 2-hour action movie.
We're going to go after some squirrels here. I feel like this is going to be.
Let's go back on Staten.
Yeah, but back to Staten. Yes,
the only thing I'll say about that is after watching The Last of Us, which was a really good show, my score for Halo's TV series dropped even further.
That's how it works, Abe. That's how it works. We have you on.
It's all relative, man. Right? It's relative. Mario fans got kind of what they wanted.
I forgot to post.
Sony fans got what they wanted. We were asked to settle. I don't want to settle next season.
I mean, end of the day, sci-fi is a million times cooler than post-apocalyptic will ever be. So I'm more excited for Halo stuff.
It's definitely
and fantasy is cooler than sci-fi. So
it's definitely more difficult to do. I will grant them that.
Oh, it's not even like the difficulty. I just like sci-fi better. So I'm more excited about season 2 of that than most shows. I want to watch it.
I'm fine with sci-fi. I just want. I don't want generic sci-fi.
Yeah, like fair enough.
This is just a generic sci-fi with a Halo skin, and
how I always said is fan fiction with budget.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, a lot of people were having an issue with the cast and everything. I thought the cast was great.
I love the cast.
I thought the cast was absolutely excellent, and you can tell with
writers is the issue.
Oh God, who plays Master Chief?
Pablo?
Pablo Driver.
Yeah. You could tell he was passionate about it because he got defensive on Twitter over the fan reaction, and rightfully so, because it seemed like people were attacking him. But people were questioning him and stuff like that. But like questioning him playing as Chief, I thought he did an excellent job. Again, it was the writing and directing
as much as I all the mistakes and stuff in the Halo TV show. I think back on episode 6. That was such a fantastic episode. That we get more of that.
Yes, there was 3 decent episodes.
It was either 5 or 6.
5. It was 1, 5, and
second half.
It was 5.
Second half of it was either 5 or 6. One of the two. The big action set piece outside.
Yeah.
The Spartan fight in the second last episode.
Yeah.
And the last fight definitely had some issues with it being CGI only, but overall, when the show did action, I liked it. So if they can just kind of keep that going, add some more space battles period, because that's a big part of the Halo lore.
Yeah.
Then season 2, I don't know. I feel like it can go pretty well. Who knows?
They need to get to Halo at the end of season 2, and I feel like at the snail's pace they're moving at, we'll be lucky if we see the fall of Reach.
You know who else is moving at a snail's pace, guys?
We are
us. So let's pack that scroll away. We will come back to him another show. So let's talk about Joe Staten a little bit.
Okay.
And so, like I said, Frankie doesn't count because we don't know if Frankie's even out of the dungeon. They took away his Twitter. They took away his ability to post on forums. I don't know. I have no clue what's going on with Frankie, honestly. We haven't heard from him. So I would say that basically our last real connection was Joe. In my opinion, you can disagree. But just
at least publicly, yeah.
What are some of your guys' thoughts and just general kind of what do you think about Joe in general, and how much does that matter to you?
It's okay that he's leaving. I personally think. Honestly, the bigger blow, if you want to call it that, was when he left 343 a few months ago, right? Him leaving Microsoft really isn't that big of a deal. He was there for 9 years, I want to say, which in tech is very, very long time for turnover. Like, I have friends that work in automotive. They've been working for 6 years, and I think almost all of them have worked for the big three already, at least once. Like, it's just constantly switching around. When it comes to Halo, I mean, I guess it kind of goes down to trusting the current leads, right? What's his name? Dang it.
Pierre.
Like, he did a fantastic job with MCC.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite's... Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was going to say with Pierre, I got to not really directly work with him, but being in the studio stuff, I got to interact with him some. Awesome dude. And one thing I want to point out about Joe leaving is a lot of people don't realize that he was just supposed to be there temporarily anyways. Like that's was originally the goal, is he was supposed to come in, help kind of get things back on track, and then head out when he kind of set things in motion. And I think a lot of people kind of forgot about that.
He's always been the closer, right? Like there's probably a point where you get a little bit of burned out about the okay, you got to come in and catch Recore. We build this as a AAA game. It's not looking like a AAA game. Oh, Crackdown, come in and fix that mess, you know. And then obviously when he got into Halo Infinite, it wasn't at it was probably at the most tenuous time. Right, publicly at least. So.
One thing I will. Sorry, I read.
No, I was just agreeing because it was shortly after the demo.
The demo, the June demo. One thing I will say is, revisionist history aside, he pulled it off with Infinite. It was a fantastic game, stellar campaign.
Wait, are people saying he didn't?
A lot of people are saying, oh, even like Infinite was a miss. That last game you shipped, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? They keep listing like Recore, Crackdown 3, Halo Infinite in the same categories. So I'm like, that doesn't really apply. You know what I mean? It's like he shipped a fantastic game. He did his part. He left. Who knows what happens behind the scenes? I don't know. I'm sure there's rumors flying around.
Now, maybe I could start one. It from his tweet where he confirmed that he was leaving.
Yeah.
I got the impression that it seemed like it was his choice to leave because he was
I'm sure it was.
It was thanking Phil and Xbox for their understanding. You know, like that type of verbiage for thank you for your understanding and support. That makes it sound like it was his decision, and that makes sense. But what I'm wondering is, because he was with Xbox for like you said a number of years and stuff, and it seemed like he liked it. He liked it enough to stay. Doing kind of being a fixer and producer and whatnot. I'm wondering if there was maybe some sour notes because of the way 343 was treated with the layoffs and everything. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that caused some issues, and that's kind of what prompted him to leave.
I theorize the same thing, but Nick, what do you think? Like, do you have any like insight or on that end of it?
I know that from what I heard, a lot for the layoffs, the campaign team was the hardest.
Yeah,
and Joe is a pretty big lore guy and campaign guy.
He was never really that multiplayer focused, right? Even Bungie.
No. So he was mainly so that was kind of more his thing and what he was brought in for. So and one might see that by all the layoffs focused heavily on campaign, that there isn't going to be much forward momentum with the campaign. Yeah. And thus, why stick around if, there's other opportunities?
Well, I think, but I mean, even going back, but like, even like you said, that was a temporary thing. Even going back to, Xbox publishing? Game Studios, publishing. That was always, that seemed like it was always an option. And that's officially what he did go back to for whatever it was, a couple months or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I just get the impression that probably left a bad taste in his mouth the way that whole thing was handled, and rightfully so. Like that's one thing that
it sucks. It's these $1 trillion companies just firing thousands of people.
Yep. And and that's the thing. Like I get it. I don't get it. I understand that it's what do you call it? Capitalism and all that crap. But like
just business.
But like logically, it makes no damn sense.
But we're talking about a team that went through hell. Like that absolutely like went through hell getting the game out in the state it was, and it wasn't perfect, but like it launched to a lot of fanfare. The launch was great. It was only the post launch where
and even then that's all multiplayer focus, right?
No, yeah. Well, it was partially.
I mean, the co-op stuff.
The co-op, yeah.
That was a sour note. Just the co-op for the most part. I don't remember any other major bugs that affected everyone.
In the
campaign.
Yeah.
There's the controversy with losing the tank gun, but they walked back on that chain.
The campaign for me was actually rather buggy, but
really
not bad. But we're talking things like I would pull up a weapon out of the weapon cache, and I couldn't grab it. That happened to me all the time. Or
really, I never had that one.
Yeah, all the time. I 100% of that game.
I hate being that guy, but that never happened to me.
No. I'm happy that it didn't happen because, like, I remember venting about it on Twitter, and I had people telling me.
Did you play the PC? If the PC?
No, it was console. Yeah.
So, to kind of jump off your point, though, Mike, I do think it is interesting because I theorize, and I have zero evidence or anything like that. I theorize just by the way he was talking, after they restructured the first time, right? Because they already restructured. Pierre got promoted, Bonnie left.
After Bonnie left.
Yeah.
And he was still there, and he never talked like somebody who had plans. And it seemed like if you were going to plan all along to like take off soonish, you would have just done it there. And I think the layoffs, so I'm just using logic. I feel like he probably did plan on having a continued role, but when the campaign was put on ice, put in, carbonite like Han Solo, basically.
Well, I think he even planned to have a continued role at Xbox Game Studios.
Potentially,
but when he was done with Halo, I mean,
who knows? Could have received a better offer. I mean, Halo brought his name back into the limelight, right? Everyone heard his name again after not hearing it for like half a decade.
Right.
So who knows? That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes next. And I'm hoping he's still in the industry, because it's a brutal industry. So I hope he's still in.
And you're right. So like it is a little bit of revisionist history. Nobody's ever watched the Halo 2 documentary. Like they actually put a pretty cool documentary together many years ago, and it kind of shows the process they went through with that game. I was actually going to put together. I was really close to releasing a piece on this back when Halo Infinite was still in development, and it wasn't. Did feel like it was in dev hell. This is after the Craig phase. Resting Craig phase. Resting brute face. But like watching that video was very interesting because they were 1.5 years before shipping the game, and they still didn't even have an engine. And even in that last year, like Staten basically was on camera a lot in that video, and he basically said that, hey, we need to make this thing fun. We need to like cut things because we need basically it was like we need to limit the scope so that we can get the loop and the main gameplay right, and get this thing to be fun, because I guess it was a little bit convoluted. And so I kind of brought that up in previous shows. I always thought that was one thing that he did well, is I think when he came in to fix things, I think he just basically goes, okay, like cut this, focus on this, get this thing right, and get your core gameplay loop right. And I think that's probably based on all the rumors and everything. And maybe Iron Wolf, maybe you have some other insight on that, but that was always my impression. He kind of came in there and really just probably slimmed it down based on the rumors, and took out some of the extra stuff.
He kind of confirmed that with his interview with Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did that interview with Phil just prior to Infinite launching, and he talked about how when he first joined 343 and played the campaign, he started the campaign or whatever, and he was constantly assaulted and on the defense and didn't really have much time to breathe. The enemies were everywhere. I wonder if that was also where they talked about them possibly thinking about like resource gathering or something. Or maybe he just...
There was some Ubisoft-ness to...
To be fair, when he mentioned that, he said the team had already decided not to do that.
Okay, he clarified I remember them talking about it.
On the team
resource stuff was kind of cut, I think, before he was there. Yeah. And even the campaign was even downsized before, I think, before he even joined. Okay. And then he downsized it, I think, a bit more, and then tried to kind of get everything, in order. Because we had a lot of different parts that kind of worked together, but like the tech was still being developed. So I know there was like some ideas that they want to do, and I think I'm technically still under NDA, so I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, no worries.
No
worries. No worries. Don't break that public.
Yeah,
even get close to that.
Yeah,
here comes Craig, by the way,
that,
for those watching.
Yeah, there was like some stuff that they planned and like reshuffled and all that. But I mean
you can see some of it, right? Like a loading screen coming up when you go up the ladder, the elevator. That's clearly like not something they wanted to do. It's like Anthem and the loading screens that it had, you know?
Yeah, and
it was all supposed to be seamless.
Yeah. There was a level designer a former level designer. He was a contractor that I played with sometimes, and he talked about some of the things like with the engine, like, like maybe you can confirm this, or maybe you're familiar with it, like the dirt and stuff that they had on the columns. Apparently that wasn't supported in the engine. They had to put that in, stuff like that, like putting stuff on top of the columns. Those like Minecraft type columns that
I think like I try to think of the term for it, but it's like basically like seam blending and like texture blending and stuff.
Yeah, because those were inserted a different way or something, or something like that.
I forget when I worked on the engine, because I helped mainly test who worked. I helped test the engine to make sure that it worked.
That's what. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's where I didn't like develop and stuff.
Yeah, but still, no.
So it was still early on when I joined the team and worked on that, and then halfway through my time at 343, I moved to Forge. So I didn't know, and that's when kind of all the really nice stuff started getting added in. So I only got to see that through the playtest.
Well, they also, you can also go back to earlier, because remember they did monthly. I think it was monthly blog posts, right?
The content up, the blog posts. They had
one of the earlier ones for the campaign, I'm pretty sure someone in chat or one of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure one of the earlier blog posts said about how there'd be like different, like the enemies would react depending on if you're going in with a tank or if you're going in at night. Like it would react kind of dynamically based on how you were approaching a given area or environment.
Yeah.
And apparently but that got cut. Like that's something that they tried, but that didn't make it in the final game, because now it doesn't matter if you go in a tank or if you go at night or during the day, it's the same encounter in that same area. So that's one of the things that he said that they try to do. Because I asked
maybe they meant stuff like being on a banshee and suddenly other banshee spawn, stuff like that.
Well, that happens.
But I think those banshees, I think those banshees would still be there though, even if you aren't in a banshee.
Oh no, they absolutely spawn the moment you get in a hornet, and they come for you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And the hornets tissue paper coming for you. It's so annoying. Funny. I'm like, I just want to get somewhere fast.
That's why I never really used aircrafts. I always just grapple shot around.
Man, if you play the campaign again, after you learn how to do the stupid grappling slide. Holy crap, you fly through that game.
Like another thing I wanted was, and I asked him about, and he claimed that they toyed around or tested it out or whatever. The escalation. Like I wanted there to be escalation, like the enemies, the banners kind of pushing back harder. So like you'd go to an area and all of a sudden like a scarab would drop or something. Stuff like that. Like I wanted, the more you took over the land, the harder the opposition would be. And,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Stuff like that, where it would be, again, kind of dynamically react to your...
Most games are the opposite, though. Most games is the more of the open world map you complete, the stronger you are, the more weapons you have, the easier the game becomes.
Yeah.
In fact, I think every game is. Elden Ring was like that. Breath of the Wild is definitely like that.
Like didn't he say that they tried that or something?
Yeah, they did some testing, and
they tried all the more reason I don't want them to jump ship whatever they're working on next. Like Halo Infinite still has a lot of cool stuff they can still do.
That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff too that like I hope that they continue to do and go forward with, because one thing about game development is like a lot of stuff gets cut. Usually they start off with a huge thing, and it's like everyone's like, oh, this would be like the best game ever. So like right when I first joined, the whole scope and everything they wanted to do was like freaking awesome. And but then it gets the feature creep, and it's like, oh well, we actually have a deadline, and it just, and unfortunately there was some like not the best kind of management when it came to time and content, so a lot of cool stuff and stuff having to get cut, and then to kind of just go like, okay, well, let's just get the basics out the door and try to make that work. And that's the unfortunate thing about game design.
People say
that's
any
across the
gaming
board
release
too.
Is a miracle.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that's the thing. Like, the more you find out about game development, the more you realize that it's fucking magic.
Yeah,
like, it is amazing that these games make it out at all, and that's why I can never give any of my frustrations or criticisms are typically with the publishing side, not the development side, because they're the ones that are doing all the heavy lifting. They're the ones that are doing all the work in the trenches and making this magic happen. Whereas the publishers are usually the ones that, in coordination with the developers or leads of the team and stuff, determine things like release dates and whatnot.
And like, hey, that armor looks cool. Charge $20 for it.
Yeah. Whoever the hell decided this is going to be the progression system. This is going to be the challenge system, because this is going to make us a lot of money when we
sniping someone while they're in a gravity lift while holding a fusion coil. Make that a challenge. Go.
Oh my god! I'm sure it sounded good in some presentation.
I definitely agree that I hope they do something more. Like this is easily my favorite campaign from 343 by far. Far.
Honestly, the main flaw is just it's too lack of biomes, in my opinion.
Well,
lack of I'd say lack of biomes and also lack of mission.
Like the water cooler moments.
Well, that too. Like, and even something simple like a couple of scarab would have fixed that part for me. But like, it just because most of the campaign levels are different Forerunner, and it's just
where it's just you, and you have a squad that your Marines that they can take around with, but typically they don't go with you in those dungeons.
And I found so many oddities when it came to the AI pathing, where like those like random bases and stuff you can dismantle and take apart,
like the forts and stuff.
Well, it seems like those gates that you can drop down to allow vehicles to go through, the soldiers don't like walking over those. Like, they'll follow me and then stop right as soon as they get to that gate, unless I have them in like
a car or something,
a warthog or something. So it I just I know that there's rumors and stuff about Unreal and all that jazz. Whatever they do, I prefer they stick with Slipspace, but like whatever they do, I really hope they continue the story.
Seriously,
because there's so much potential. There's so much there.
Like, Nick, I don't know about you, but I think all of us here are in agreement that like one of 343's biggest issues is the constant like rebooting or flipping things around or stuff like that. It's just so frustrating.
They need to stick with it, and they put so much like money and development into Slipspace to make it so they can build it into what they want. And if they switch to Unreal, they have to build all those tools again. It's like people don't understand that. Like, I think one of the reasons why they didn't go with Unreal like originally and just decide their own engine was because it just didn't feel like Halo. It's like they couldn't get the right sandbox feel and everything. And some might say that like now the Slipspace still isn't there, still needs some tweaking. I think it needs a little bit more tweaking. But it's I think
if they've got seasonality down, it means they've grasped certain things about it, right? If season 5 ends up releasing in 4 months after June, then hey, that means they got it, right? Finally, it took them 2 years basically, but they finally got it, right?
Wait, you mean season 4, right?
No, season 4 is releasing June. I mean, that one we know for sure is releasing June.
Oh, you mean 3 months after June? Okay.
What I mean is like,
we're definitely chasing another squirrel.
I mean, it's all connected though. Joe Staten campaign talk.
The UE stuff, like I know we talked about it so many different times. I think that the whole dynamic on that, we just don't know that it comes now if they're going to be outsourced. I mean, using other studios, like trading people on Slipspace. I mean, like I'm sure Nick, you've seen that. Like just getting up to speed on Slipspace does take a little while, and that's always going to be a challenge.
Hard. Well, they tried. I think they tried designing it with like, like
new people in
Unreal and
mind?
stuff like that in mind. It's like to make it easy so that way people can pick it up, and so that way just designers in general can use it.
You have that one ex-developer saying something like it takes 6 months for them to learn it, then 6 months for them to be proficient, and then they're gone and stuff like that. And
well, I imagine the biggest roadblock, or not roadblock, but maybe entry point is on the engineering side, because working with tools and stuff, I imagine, is a lot easier to get a hold of and come to grips with than jumping into code.
Well, the engineering side shouldn't be contract workers, right? Those should be full-time employees.
That was contract workers too.
Yeah, I'm saying shouldn't be.
They relied heavily on. They were heavily on contract.
And then there is the whole tech debt thing, where I think it was, what is it, Tyler Owens, I think. But whenever the whole Unreal rumor resurfaced again, someone asked him if he knows that it's true, and his immediate response was he doesn't know, but if they did, his first reasoning would be tech debt. So
we'll see. I think we're going to have to come back on that in the near future. So okay, back to Joe before we kind of move on to some other things real quick. Any kind of final thoughts about Joe? Any favorite things you remember, like with him in Halo?
I can share my first memory of seeing him.
Go ahead.
So it was before he got announced that he was going to work at the studio, and I was heading to lunch. So it's like the basically where the 343 studio is. It's like in this kind of small, like not like a strip mall, but like there's a couple of buildings all close together where and we go across the street to another Microsoft building for lunch. I was just like walking across the street, and I was like looking over. I'm like, I think that's Stan. I'm like, it looks kind of like him. And I'm like, he's a little bit shorter than what I thought. I'm like, it's but yeah, I just kind of saw him over there. I was like, yeah, that is him. And I was like, holy crap, like what's he doing over here and stuff. And we got lunch. I told some people, and then I think a couple days later they did an internal thing saying like, oh, he's joining the team and stuff, and then later on it announced it publicly. So, but I don't know. I've seen cool. him, at meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Nick, I'm curious, and this is a slight tangent to my last question, but so you've met Pierre, you've met Joe. Do people underestimate maybe some of the impact that Pierre had on the launch of Infinite, or would you not be in the loop to know enough about that aspect of it?
I know he was. So I think when I mainly knew after Pierre did MCC, I knew him mostly as helping with like the studio side of it, like the people side of the studio, not so much of the production side. So he like I'm trying to think of like where I mainly saw him. Like I saw him mainly of that like executive group of just like making sure that people are kind of taken care of, sort of thing. But not entirely. I'm trying to like remember, because I only had like some interactions with them, but I feel like that's mainly where I saw him being a part of, is that kind of side. So yeah,
because we've heard kind of like behind the scenes, and I don't know how, there's always a lot of stuff, and you take it with grains of salt, but it does sound, again, rumors, all that stuff, but that people really do like have really high hopes with him, at 343 in terms of changing the culture, and they really do like, I guess the high ups in Microsoft gaming feel like he's the guy, and that he's gonna kind of get it.
I guess that's the good word to use, the culture. He seemed a bit more involved with the culture side of the studio. That's kind of what I always kind of got from him, and just like he's just a good dude too in general.
Like I'm not sure if it was his decision or someone higher up, but prioritizing keeping the multiplayer team was the right decision.
Yeah,
when it came to the layoffs, it was 100% the right decision.
Them and Forge and stuff, because they know they know that's the lifeblood of Halo. It's like, I mean, campaign stuff, you know, is awesome and all, but that takes a longer time to turn out stuff. That's why Forge being delayed was such a big hit to Halo.
Yeah. So other Staten things. Anything? Any of you guys want to call it anything?
His main, not main. I don't want to say main, but like his the game that was his the most was ODST, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. That's what he directed. That's the one.
So ODST is like my least favorite, Halo game.
That's one
You know what it is, Nick? It's when I played it for the first time only like 6 years ago, maybe 2014, leading up to Halo 5. And I really liked it. By the way, I really liked it playing. No, I mean I was old. I played Halo 3. All right, I was old enough. Actually, me, we're probably similar age. All right. But I played it and I really enjoyed it. And I played it alone and I got all the terminals and I had a good time. I love the atmosphere. Since then, I've replayed the series like 2-3 times, and ODST is by far the weakest of them. When I replay it, it finishes in 3 hours. It's in and out as a blip. It's like you just rush the levels. You don't really take the time to experience the ambience and everything. So like, it is a good game. It's a great game, but it's the weakest of replayability. Is how.
Man, those are fighting words right there. I
don't know.
Nick, just so you know, we are all on different sides of things when it comes to Halo campaigns. I'm more of a CE, still the greatest game of all time. For its
CE gets a bad rap. It's still a good game. It still holds up.
Bad rap only from Jesse. I mean,
no. I think people also say something like CE doesn't really hold up. No. It still holds up.
No, CE,
it holds up incredibly.
Every time I replay it on Legendary, it's still got amazing balance, except for a few parts. There's a few parts.
Any other console shooter of that era, you know?
Oh, they are awful. Like any shooter in general. Like pick up anything. It is crazy how well that holds up.
But like, that doesn't really mean anything to someone new to the franchise. So I'm like, hey, start with the Halo 1. They're like, a game from 2001.
It's still really well balanced. It's really fun. The sandbox is really good.
If they ask me that, I'd be like, look, trust me. And also make sure to play in classic mode because the remaster is kind of crap. So,
I played with a friend who played it for the first time, and he played it remastered, most of it.
On a tech level, I think the remaster is really impressive for a 360 game. It's just the art. It's all the art because I don't think that it's as faithful to the original vision and the atmosphere and everything.
And they clearly learned it because
Halo 2. Where Halo 2 is completely opposite. I wasn't a fan of the art of the original Halo 2. I thought a lot of it was drab, a lot of browns, a lot of just...
It was a lot of browns.
You know? Because like I love the futuristic, bluish tint, new Mombasa. And then whenever I played the game, it was like all brown and gray. You know, like it just...
Yeah, the remaster is really, really good.
I kept on telling myself, I'm like, okay, we're going to get to the blue part soon, right? And it never came. And so you're 100% right. The remaster to Halo 2 is amazing. But 343, I know you're not listening, but if you ever stumble across this, can you please fix the performance of the Series X? Please. It runs at like 40 frames per second now.
Really?
I didn't know that. I don't know what they did with one of the updates, but it just runs like hot garbage on the Series X, and that should not happen. It was running at 60 frames on this 1X.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's got to be a bug or some kind of issue.
But back to the topic.
Yes. Overall, he's great. He was a big help to Microsoft. Bungie did him dirty. I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes next because I really like his story. I like his lore. I like his writing skill.
Yeah.
I mean, I read several books of his. Contact Harvest is a great damn book.
Oh, that is such a good book. That is such a good book.
Actually, that's probably where my influence comes the most with him is the books that he's read.
I'm a huge fan of his. I don't think it's the end of times or anything with him leaving, but it's certainly a blow because just losing any kind of talent is never a good thing. But it's
I was just say the loss of the talent. There's some other talent left too that wasn't part of the layoffs. Tom French.
Oh yeah. We talked about some of that, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of names that kind of took off after that. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's like I said, I mentioned the Pierre thing. We'll have to see, if he builds that culture and there has been, like, I guess side swipes at 343 manage. Side swipes at 343 manage.
Wait,
what are you
what
doing,
happened?
Soul?
Wait, what's happening right now? Is my thing not normal?
You stopped moving.
What is going on? Who's messing with?
To find a different background.
That is creepy. That is creepy. That was definitely one of the creepiest. At least it wasn't his ass cheeks. At least it wasn't his ass cheeks.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
it's fixed now.
Oh God.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm excited to see where he goes
for a second.
next.
I wanted to make sure that it wasn't Jesse's face again. But you know what?
No, it
was
worse.
Yeah, it was worse. I will say that Joe got to do one of the best E3 demos of all time. So the Halo 2 demo, even though it was never
the fakest demo of all time.
For its time though, like, yeah, it was fake. And actually that's what ruined the Halo 2. My first playthrough was ruined because I was waiting for that level every time. I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is like I was, because that was the most amazing E3 demo. The crowd was like insane. You had celebrities going insane. Like, it was like there's never been a pop like that in an Xbox conference.
And this is the amazing thing. They didn't pay those celebrities to be there.
No,
like companies do now. And like they went through line for whatever reason. I'm sure the celebrities were paid to be at E3 for whatever reason, but I never saw any reports or anything like that. They were paid to talk about Halo, to go see Halo. And I think it was especially funny where Johnson said that this isn't any kind of smoke and mirrors bullshit or whatever he said. When it turned out to be exactly that.
Totally smoke and mirrors bullshit.
Oh, they're probably just like, don't catch it.
Yeah, and it's and like, speaking of which, I'm curious on what the status is of the mod team. Hopefully that's still going on at 343 after the layoffs. I don't know if anything's been posted or updated regarding the restoration project and regarding demos from Halo CE and Halo 2.
Right,
oh, that's true. Yeah, because that was even going on when I was there.
Nobody's talked about that. I didn't even think about that till you mentioned it. So
yeah, I'm really hoping that's still a thing, because I would absolutely love to play around with that, even if it's just PC, because I think they said that they're targeting PC and they're going to try to get it on console, but no guarantee. I'd love for that to still happen, but going back to Staten, I'm excited to see where he goes. He's got my support no matter what he does. He just seems like a really good, genuine dude. And I kind of feel bad regarding just the position he was put in with 343 or with Infinite in general, because you can kind of tell from some of the interviews that he was kind of towing the company line in a sense, if that makes sense.
Well, you always do when you're in those
and that's the thing. You
does,
have to. Yeah, you have to. But
you're company man at that point.
Yeah, but I get the feeling that that's not his natural state, or whatever you want to call it, if that makes sense.
To be Mr. Corporate, right? Like, get up there and say whatever the corporate line is, because he was always at sort of in the creative side of things, right? So,
like, the one thing that I see people bring up is like him saying that, well, they had to release Infinite for us to catch these things, like that whole thing. Whereas if you would have given him an extra year, I guarantee you he would have taken that willingly.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I can't wait to see what he does. I would love for him to open up a new studio.
Like Jar Sparks, like the last guy who left, Jerry Hook.
Yeah.
When he left, he opened up his new studio.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No. Yeah, that's awesome. Or like Hoberman.
A few of them had. Yeah, Hoberman. There was also what's his name? Holmes. He did the same thing, right? I don't know. Did his game ever release? I can't remember. He got that indie studio. But I did. Huh?
No, I was joking.
But I remember, like, I mentioned this before. I remember hearing an interview from Holmes after he left, and he basically talked about the burnout he had after doing Halo again, basically like AAA development again, and just needing to kind of get away from that. And so, yeah, I think that sometimes it is like the interesting thing, and even hearing it from developers and things like that, with the way the tools are evolving, you don't need to have a 300-person team to make a really pretty, well, animated campaign anymore. Like you could. I had a buddy who was telling me, it's like, yeah, in a few years you'll see teams of 20 to 40 people making games that look like they would have been by 300 people teams, or even bigger and better than that from the last generation, because of where things are going. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm sure AAA will continue to be super duper expensive and demanding and intense, because they're going to find different ways,
right? Yeah, it's not just visuals. There's all the back end stuff and blah blah.
There's a lot of extra stuff, because AAA. I think AAA today is almost becoming synonymous with evolving, ongoing. Even the campaigns are, like, heck, we even look at the big open world games that Ubisoft makes. They kind of always are adding stuff to them. They still want everybody playing their
Valhalla has like an extra 80 hours or something added in through
people
DLC.
Are still playing it. Like at my friends list, like they're still playing that shit.
Even Breath of the Wild had DLC. Like it's kind of expected, and I guess that's one of the reasons people expected it from Infinite.
Yeah.
Well, they confirmed it, didn't they?
It was never like fully confirmed. I don't think. Hinted at most, and a bunch of rumors. Like a ton of rumors. But never like officially like we're making more Halo Infinite content after release.
Okay, yeah, I think that's something that people
kind of build into.
I guess rightfully assumed after their 10-year platform announcement or revelation or whatever.
Wasn't that Chris
Lee?
Chris Lee, and he left the studio like way before the game shipped.
He left I think like a year before it left. Another great guy. Like, got to talk to him a lot.
Nice.
He's the one that helped get me into the studio. Actually.
Yeah, I remember your story, man. You had a harrowing experience, though. I remember. I was just listening to it. I'm like, what the? Oh,
that was There's no doubt. Nick, I'm sure you could confirm that people at 343 really do love Halo. There's no other reason to take the. Yes. There's no reason. Yeah. There's no other reason to take the abuse, right?
Yeah.
Like. Maybe we don't always agree on the direction, which sounds like that's always been kind of a thing. And maybe there's a lot of creative cooks in the kitchen, or restraints because of the community. Like, we can't do this because the community will fry us for this, doing this again, right? So I think there's always that. But I always thought that was a really unfair, weird, like a weird like. I don't know, conspiracy theory that these people don't even like it, and they always take the clip. I think, but I know what Bonnie was trying to say back in the day. They take that clip that Bonnie says, "We hired people that didn't even want it." What she wanted, like they've been replaying that for like 10 years, and like that doesn't represent the people that are there today. At the time they were trying to change it, right? They were trying to make it their own, which was not always.
I mean, even then, I think her point was they were trying to just bring fresh ideas into it, fresh perspectives and stuff like that. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And to be fair to 343, and I completely agree with Abe, where I never doubted the love and passion that 343 had for Halo. Like and the to be fair to them, Bungie described the exact same thing when they're for one of their Vidocs when they're for Reach, where they, it was this balance of introducing new ideas and new concepts, but not pissing off the majority of your player base.
Yeah.
So, and I think every IP that has the legacy and history of Halo goes through the exact same thing. And it all
legacy.
Yeah, but and it all depends on. I think it all depends on the IP because Mario, for example, I think stays fresh after almost 40 years or whatever because there isn't like a tightly knit integrated lore.
Mario has like an evergreen audience of new beings that weren't in existence. The previous Mario game that released.
Yeah, but that's similar with like Sonic and stuff. That's kind of due to the demographic they chase, but still you can't compare like Mario to Halo, for example, because
you can do a fresh thing no matter completely, right? When Galaxy came out, it's not like that to be like, oh man, this is fit with Mario 64's lore. Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
They're not going to accept the hat. It doesn't fit into the established lore.
Yeah, no, and that's it. But like,
T-Rex.
when it comes to Halo, and that's the same thing with other lore-driven IPs.
Gears probably has the same issue too. Going into Gears 6, wouldn't be surprised.
Just anything. Yeah, I mean, look at the backlash that The Last of Us 2 had, and not to give anything away, but that had a lot of backlash because they did something way different and stuff like that, and so it's not a Halo only thing, but unfortunately, 343 sometimes.
What the hell are we talking about? I completely lost the.
Well, I'm gonna move it forward unless somebody had any final thoughts. But basically, we're talking about Satan.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, control yourself there. Control yourself. So,
my migraine.
He heard The Last of Us and he got all excited.
But
I'll say this much: Halo season 2 is gonna be better than Last of Us season 2. At least we'll see how it goes.
The show. Yeah. So let's talk about the game, the multiplayer. So obviously we got a chance. Speaking of Pierre and moving forward and 343 and stuff like that.
And it's not just Pierre, right? It's also like Bonnie's role was split.
Yeah, it was split
into 3 roles. Yeah. So in general, it's like they have more kind of oversight, whatever the heck the term is.
Yeah, more. Yeah,
focus.
A little bit more of the management aspect of it. It's not one person trying to oversee all these different big components of it. So you have the competitive side, you have the media, and then you have the game. But Pierre's over the game. So the game. It's been 4 weeks now since season 3's been out. Last time we met, we went over all the real intricacies, the maps, the bandit, the shroud.
Hey. We got to the title of the episode and only took us 58 minutes.
I mean, we're past the intro, everybody. We're past the intro.
Roll credits.
All right,
this is going to be a short episode. We were not going to like break this down like piece by piece by piece again. But we had initial impressions, from what we felt and like when it first came out. Things we liked, we didn't like. Obviously, we mentioned this before. Sometimes time changes things and perceptions, both for the season and maybe the state of the, where the game's at and things like that. So just kind of go around and get your thoughts on the season. And, if you want to transition that into anything else, like, we'll talk about the game itself, kind of like where it's at a year and a half in. Feel free to start doing that. So we'll start with you. So
okay, perfect. So first, before we start, we have a good 40 or so people watching, but only like 17 likes. What's up with that, guys? If we get more than half the likes that we have, we'll talk about what's the topic that little people hate talking about?
Masterchief's ass. Is it really?
There we go. We'll talk more about the TV show.
Masterchief. It'd probably help if I liked it.
Yeah, right. Me like 5 minutes ago. But so season 3. So one thing is I haven't been playing too much in the last couple of weeks. I still play enough to get the challenges. In fact, last week's challenge was this pretty nice looking sniper skin. I didn't check what the ultimate challenge was until Monday. This week's Monday. And I'm like, oh crap. I started playing at 12:08. I got the skin at like 110. Like in an hour, the challenges are sometimes just way too easy. This week's got some annoying crap, like get 25 kills with an assault rifle. I don't use a damn assault rifle.
Yeah,
assault rifle, rocket launcher, sniper, or shotgun. So there's more than just a little bit, but still, I swear, I'll get a challenge that says win a game, and it'll affect the way I play the game. Even though I go to win always.
I was gonna say, don't you always try to win?
I always go to win.
Okay, now I'm really gonna try.
Then it's like, oh, I'm losing. Oh, I'm losing. Oh, no. It's just, I hate it. Please, just. Oh.
So, are you saying that the challenge system influences the way people play games?
Oh, and Mike, I've jumped on that train a long time ago.
I'm just messing around.
But yes, it's a million times better than it used to be. Like, I don't need to friggin' use a wasp to kill 10. Okay.
Not a million.
Last time those killed 10 wasps. And there's one wasp spawning every 4 minutes, and you have like 5 people waiting by the wasp spot, waiting for someone to get on so they can blow it up.
What about anything changed in terms of your opinions of the maps?
One thing I would like is before the maps were only on community playlist, right? Now if you play Quick Play or even Fiesta, you'll get the community maps. And I knew that, like I read the tweet, but I didn't know that till I played it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm playing on
maps or the new maps.
Both.
Oh, okay.
But like the community maps will show up on Fiesta. Tactical Slayer has SWAT has like even the new ones that were just added in this week, which I've only played Curfew of a little bit. I still haven't played the other two. But yeah, overall, I mean, the game is fun. It's been in a way, it's the best it's been. I'm getting matches pretty quick. It's just, you know, I'm kind of playing other things too. I'm not giving it that much time.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
Pretty much similar to where I was before, except what's that one map that's basically ripped out of the campaign?
Chasm.
Thank you. That one, it's weird. I didn't expect to like it. In the beginning, I liked it more than I thought I would, but it's kind of wore thin with me. Where like when it comes up, I'm like, all right. Like I don't hate it. It's not,
especially compared to Cliffhanger, right? Which is like a top tier map.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the other two maps are really, really good, and Chasm is it's not as bad as that Reach remake map. I'm so bad with names.
Which one? Sorry.
The absolute worst big team battle. I think it's not even big team battle.
A launch site. Yeah.
Launch site. Yeah, there you go.
It's launch sites.
That one. I just. That one I suffer through, unless it's one flag CTF. That it's actually great for that.
Yes.
And I would honestly lock that if there was a way for them to lock their matchmaking to just that game mode.
I'm not sure if you can even play launch site anymore. Is it even in any of like the playlists?
Oh, I don't know. If it's not, then
because I know they've been rotating things out a fair bit. Some maps out. Yeah, I don't think it is.
Is this where you're trying to get your assault rifle achievement here?
No. This is Nick's playing. This is he was able to record.
Watching my
7 minutes.
My bad gameplay.
He was able to record 7 minutes of footage. Ooh. Why would you keep shooting? What you got the?
Yeah.
No, what?
It's been a month since I played.
Oh my god! Don't let Soul shame you.
The biggest thing.
Soul.
The biggest thing for me is the netcode still.
Yes.
You know, like the desyncing is still an issue. It's the ping rate is sometimes an issue. It just.
I've kind of stopped taking a lot of it seriously. Like I'll just play for fun, and if I lag up or if I'm gonna blank melee or two, it's just like whatever. I'm not playing it competitively.
It's not even about being competitive. It's just being like the game playing the way I expect it to play. It's just, to me, it's not fun. It's not fun at all where I lose a firefight because, and I got to go through my save videos before they rotate out on the Xbox because I have some very clear examples of like, I have the sniper, the icon is red, and the shot goes right through their head. And I'm not gonna. I don't have any delusions that it's an easy fix, and I know that that's a focus for them. But I was hoping by season 3, and speaking of which, I can't find. It must have been that crack I smoked that morning or something, where I can't find that interview where whoever claimed that they fixed the netcode for season 3. I don't know where I got that from, but
I remember I think there was a tweet on that or something.
It was an interview.
It's the same thing that always happens, man. It's a new season comes out, more people play. Suddenly people are like, "Oh, the game feels so good." Yeah, because more people are playing. Your latency is not as bad. You're grouping up with people actually close to you. A few weeks go by, less people are playing. Network issues pop up again.
There's definitely, you can tell that there's less people playing now versus when season 3 first came out because it's not often, but sometimes the matchmaking time is
it can exceed like a minute, which is a rare thing.
It's not for some like random offshoot playlist like maybe SWAT or something. I don't know what's popular or what's not, but just
Quick Play and Fiesta are always like 20 seconds for me. Like those are just instant, but any of the other ones sometimes can take a while. Like, also, Nick, I apologize. Sorry, really quick. You were clearly just like learning the game again because you're doing really well now.
But Abe and I played the other day, and what was it? Just regular Slayer or something. It was like Social Slayer or whatever. And there was some times where, like you said, it seemed like it was a minute or more.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I'd see that with Halo ever.
To be fair, Social Slayer is basically like Action Sack in a way, so it's not going to be the most populated playlist.
Yeah, that's true.
Out there, like if you play Quick Play, you're getting a match in 20 seconds, no matter what time of the day you play, no matter what day you play in America. I don't know how people in like other
America.
places play, because like it really does suck. Like I think that's one of the issues with Halo is it kind of is like a physical representation of Microsoft's kind of failure in a global market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is so American centric. The esports, they had to basically, or not they had to, but they did. They canceled all the majors that were out of America this year. Why? Because they're like no one was watching it. Like it just didn't have engagement. It wasn't sustainable. We couldn't justify, spending the money on that stuff.
So
and you look at Halo, and it's not like in the UK, it's like 30, 40 most played. It's way down the list.
So I'm guessing now's not a good time to wish they brought back that Halo 3 map with all the dots. I don't know if you guys remember that when you enter the matchmaking and multiplayer in Halo 3, it had the dot. It had a map like in a little to the bottom left hand corner, and it had the dots where everyone was playing. You can just see, especially on launch day, like of course, America. It's like midnight, and America is just lit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait, when you said map, I think all three of us assumed you meant like Halo map.
No, I'm sorry. It was the map of the world on the bottom left hand corner.
Yeah,
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it was always fun to point out like the remote sections and just like, I wonder who's playing there.
Yeah.
Nick, do you have any thoughts on it? I know you've been more involved with the Forge stuff, but any thoughts on the season itself?
Yeah, today was the first day I think I really got to sit down and play. I think. Oh no, I played like when it first came out, but I haven't.
Okay.
So outside of this, I'm heavily involved in robotics, high school robotics team. I mentor that.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So like from January to April is like our season, so I don't have a lot of time to play video games, and
gotcha.
But I was starting to get back into it. The community playlist and stuff I think is great. They have I'm glad that they are trying to push more for the community stuff. And because I know I've been working with some people to try to have that become a bigger part of it, because like working with people like Infinite Forges, he like him and a few others were trying a like Forge initiative, so trying to really push the studio to do more stuff with Forge in the community. Okay, so it's cool that they are doing more. Like they have this playlist and they're going to add more, and they are actually making those
didn't
steps.
remove the maps that were already in the community playlist. They just added like 3 more. I like that because it's too early to remove them, I feel.
Did you, Nick? Have you heard? Because that's interesting. Because I didn't know he was working with them on that. Do you know if that initiative is supposed to expand and become a little bit more than it is, or is it really just? Is this the start, or is this it?
Yeah, it's kind of the start. Like, of eventually, because we're trying to get more of it into esports, because the studio and 343 and stuff was heavily focused on expanding esports. And that was a lot of the push for a lot of the stuff you see, and a lot of the direction came from pushing it towards esports and stuff, which personally I don't think that was the right move, but of course I wasn't getting paid big bucks, but so we're trying to get like more community events at those like esports events.
Oh, that'd be really cool, dude. I'm probably gonna go to Arlington. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's been kind of slow because like we had everyone was really excited at the beginning, like when we started this a month and a half ago, and then it kind of lost steam because with the newest update it kind of broke a lot of things in Forge. Yes. And so that's why I haven't really been bothered going into Forge, because I hear it's really buggy and kind of a pain to work in right now. So that kind of killed some of that momentum. But yeah, like eventually we want to try to get something at the Worlds event. It would be nice to get I want to do like a nice 24-hour stream with a whole bunch of community members and studio people.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Like, so that's kind of in the works, but that's
like the esports side. You're never gonna find a group of people more like intensely passionate about this game than you will with like that tiny little subset.
Mhm.
So I definitely get why they wanna try and like leverage that. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of esports people too that are interested in Forge.
Yeah. I mean, it's been part of the thing from Halo 5 too. I think they went and a lot of their maps they played on were Forge maps. They're like, we can make the maps better or more competitive. Boom, Forge it, change this around. We're playing on this instead. You know?
Well, and they're probably looking at the whole ABK thing and the MLG acquisition. My buddy brought one of my buddies I was playing with Zemi Games recently on online was like nobody's talking about that, and was the whole MLG and the fact that they will probably have more opportunity to leverage the Halo competitive side. And the thing is, we talked about this before too. It's just a kind of a theory or maybe just a theory on my end here, but I always feel like those two things can feed each other. It's not like it's one or the other. It's like you can use the competitive side, the big names to kind of bring in some notoriety for the game. And maybe you tie that into something like a Forge. At the end of the day though, like the one opportunity I think they've missed that they probably had hoped to capitalize on, and maybe this can happen once they do get MLG and they can bring in their own stuff there, right? Is that you think about like a basketball, NBA, right? Like none of us can be necessarily like LeBron or Michael Jordan or whatever, but people would watch NBA game and they go out in the backyard and they shoot and want to play with their friends. And I think that if they could capture that a little bit more, like recapture some of the energy they had early on.
They bring some of that. Still do that though, with like their focus on the esports side. You know what I mean? With all the majors and the tournaments and all, and like the drops, the Twitch drops.
Yeah.
Right. So there's an element. I mean, I don't know how much more they could do on that. Like they're already focusing so much on the esports.
Yeah,
side.
no, they're definitely trying. I think it's just getting some of that momentum back. But so the game. You guys have any thoughts about? So like, I think I agree with Mike. When we met the last time, I think I said that Chasm wasn't as bad as I thought. As time's gone on, it's basically in the launch site category.
Really?
I don't. Yeah,
I still really like Chasm. I'll be honest.
I do not anymore. I'm over Chasm. Cliffhanger I like, and obviously
Oasis.
Oasis is really cool. I really enjoy that. And I haven't really like I think Oasis at this point, and maybe it's just because it's still got a new map smell to it. It's probably one of my top two in the big team mode, along with Fragmentation. But I really do like that, and I think the thing that I was surprised about, not super negatively, but the Bandit, I was really, really hyped about that. You probably remember that, but I feel like it needs a little bit more oomph to it. It needs a little bit more zoom.
Yeah, it's the zoom for me. I think the damage is fine. It's good. It's just the zoom.
Damage is good. Yeah, it just needs a little bit more range, just a little bit more range, and I think that'd be better. But overall, I think if this is a standard season, if this was like a regular cadence of what we got, I'd be good with that. The mode was good. I liked the narrative thing was actually decent. Nothing world changing. Yeah, better than expected.
So, I mean, technically, I haven't watched the leaks, but there's still another end cutscene, right, coming either next week or the week after. The second Mindfall, whatever the heck it's called, thing.
Yeah, it's better. It's moving in the right direction.
One thing we did do, which we totally forgot to mention, is last week, I think.
Oh, this is a cool map, by the way.
Or the week before, we played some Halo together. Right. We had an impromptu Halo community night. Actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago. But either way, it was a lot of fun. Escalation of Slayer. That's where I think they missed an opportunity, is having a mode where only solo Escalation Slayer. That kind of annoyed me that they didn't have that. They had like a featured playlist, no solo play, but it had stuff like FFA Oddball. Who the hell wants to play FFA Oddball? Are you kidding me?
Or the seed game. Why are we still playing that in Big Team Battle?
I don't understand that. I don't know one person. I only know one person that likes that. That's But I think they're mentally ill. But no, Joe.
That it seems like a super sweaty game type where it's like you gotta like plan things out exactly. Like send 3 squads there, 1 squad here, stuff like that. But it's big team battle, damn it. Like,
that's part of the problem, that a lot of times it seems like it's horribly stacked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you either smoke the other team or you get wiped out.
Yeah, it's not a real balance.
Usually one time, depending when you play, one team actually wants to, and the one team doesn't. So it's like,
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the seasons, if they keep this up, the Shroud was a good addition. The Bandit's okay. It's a good starting weapon. It's not a good pickup weapon. I like the way it feels. I just wish it had a little more range. The maps are the 2 maps are good. And,
do you think it's better than the pistol? Like, if you had like assault rifle pistol,
it's more fun.
I'd switch to the Bandit. Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
because
also, it has more ammo
to headshot.
Because
with Bandit. I don't know why.
If you have any desync,
if
you have any desync at all, you're going to need to reload that pistol, the sidekick, and. And with the Bandit, you can, even if you have a little desync, you can still dance around and kill somebody without having to reload.
And
so
pistols
it's
like
just
high
more
risk,
fun to use.
high reward. Like you have to rapid fire that thing, right? Otherwise, you're going to lose the duel. They're going to TTK you with the assault rifle or the BR. So it's like if you land all the shots, perfect. If you don't, you're done. Duel's over.
Right.
Yeah,
Bandit's definitely still the better gun there. In my opinion.
And the Shroud, again, I didn't really have much in the way of expectations with the Shroud, but that's actually a pretty nifty little piece of equipment there, more so than I thought it would be.
People don't know how to react to it. Like, I'm about to die, I just put it on, and then suddenly I won't. I'm like, dude, I'm still in here. Like, all you gotta do is throw one grenade or something. Like,
I usually just toss grenades in it blindly.
That's what you should do.
No, it's added a new dynamic. Like the whole concept of adding a smoke grenade to Halo is, especially in some of like the other. The objective based games, you're playing we're playing capture the flag and you're on something like a cliffhanger, somebody's sniping across the map and you're running with the flag and he's sniped your team and somebody just tosses out from like the distance a shroud to block the sniper and you score the flag. Like stuff like that was really cool, and it'd be interested to see how the how some of the pros use it and things like that. So yeah, good season. Now let's talk a little bit about the state of the game, because like you just talked about the netcode, Mike. There's still some gaps, I think. How are we feeling about where Halo is a year and a half later? Are you like, what are some of the major opportunities? If there's things that are still going really well that you want them to continue, like where are you at overall on that stuff?
I think the community stuff, I mean, like I said earlier, I think they need to continue going heavy into that. And I think it started a little bit later than what it should have.
Yeah.
So to me, it seemed like a very slow start for them to kind of pick up and start running with.
For sure.
But the fact that they are doing it now, and of course, I know a lot of the people on that team, so nothing but love for them. And I know that they're passionate about doing all this. So I'm really happy that with what they are doing and knowing like what they want to do and stuff too. I'm excited for things to come.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few leaks here and there of some of the coming Forge stuff.
Yeah, that all is exciting, and I'm sure that Nick, like, I don't want to get you in trouble because you say something, whether you're under NDA or you're, a buddy ever said anything. I
think next time we should just make him like that black silhouette, altered voice,
with the altered voice, talking about what he's heard about it.
Yeah.
They're definitely based on the leaks. We like talked about it for like over a year, that all the potential, and I still feel like it's just potential today, because. Like when Forge came out, I'll be honest, I expected more of a change, and I didn't really anticipate some of the, the challenges and the ramp ups and things like that. But, like even playing custom games, if you're trying to do that and you're trying to bring in Forge stuff, it's not working as intended, I guess, right now. Right. It's still a lot of rough edges around it. And I think that really holds it back.
That's why I always said, like, leading up to the Forge release, I was like, Forge is amazing. I'm excited for it. It can do a lot of good things, but the distribution and sharing and access to that content is going to be the key driver in terms of the impact.
And that's why you got me hopeful, Nick. So like kind of hearing this community stuff, because I think integrating is really the answer, right? Because it can be overwhelming. Like people are not probably going to go there, and I know I forget. Like the other day I was like, all right, screw it. Like I'm the Halo. You had me at a Halo podcast. I've been talking about Forge forever, and I kind of gave up on it for a little bit because it was kind of tough playing the custom games. But I just went in there, and there is some cool shit. Like I mean, I was on this. I don't even know if this would be a necessarily a great map or anything, but just the concepts and what's possible was like, I was on the biggest map I've ever seen in a non-BR mode before. Like there's like, felt like a bunch of interconnected like spears, like little moons or planets or whatever. It was just kind of like people were sniping each other. We had like 12 people in the game, and it felt like I would be running around forever, couldn't find anybody. I was like, man, you could probably do like a full BR in this damn map. It was so big. Like there's some creative.
Some people are making BR maps and modes and stuff. There's
one I really want to try, but you need 24 people, and it's pain in the butt to gather that many.
It's tough, and that's the stuff, man.
Yeah. Honestly, we need more of those.
Yeah.
And that's where like they got to feed that stuff into the like. What I'm hoping is like right now, I like the start of the community playlist. It would be nice, and this probably. Easier said than done from a coding standpoint. It'd be nice to have a voting option. Like maybe they had like a big playlist with like 20, 30 things just rotating. Let people vote and then take the ones that are constantly being voted on and throw those in regular playlists.
I'd much rather them go with the they had it in Reach where you can pick between 2 or 3 options, and then 3, I think it was 3 by extension of ODST. Allowed enough people, I think, to hit X to skip to the next one. And I actually thought that was better, because what ended up happening with Reach was, if there were 3 options and one was clearly the most popular option, you always played that.
Yeah.
And even if you wanted to play one of the other 2. So I think just skipping the existing one and just letting chance, game of chance to go with whatever the next mode would be best. And that way they can gauge how often something is skipped versus something is picked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As much as playing Guardian 5 times in a row.
It's like, you know what it is right now, Mike? It's if people leave the game, then they don't like this map. All right, let's make a different map.
They need some better.
I got a buddy that sometimes he doesn't do it as often as he used to, but sometimes if he comes across a map that he really hates, he'll just leave. Yeah, and it's annoying as hell when he's on my team. But
as long as you leave at the start and it's not a rank game, it's not a big deal, because you'll get someone else will comment. That's not a problem.
The bots have helped it too. It's like bots aren't always fantastic, but at least it is nice that there is some kind of filler there.
Yeah, it can at least be a decoy. If it's not getting kills, at least it can be a decoy. So,
it's like you have this insanely passionate and talented community that's like spending hours, weeks, months of their lives building content for this game. You'd have to be an idiot not to leverage that or use that. At least until while they don't realize like they could take that effort and get a job with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So on that, Max Extra, who was a admin over at Forge with me, and been part of the community for a while. I was actually roommates with him and helped get him a job at Microsoft and stuff. It's
nice.
So he is now the I forget his actual title, but he's mainly in charge of like a lot of playlists and stuff, and like the favorites and stuff, like collecting the maps and figuring out like what to showcase and put on the rotations, and figure out kind of what to do next, like what do people like and everything like that,
super
and
cool.
helping build the playlist. So and he's like great at it. And I think he's just started there like a couple months ago or something. So it hasn't been there too long, but
we've already seen movement in that area in those last couple months, right? We've seen new maps added in. We've seen the community maps being moved around to other playlists, not just localized to the community playlist. That's cool, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, I still think that the opportunity there is to figure that out. Like it does. It's not a guarantee that it's ever going to have a giant impact on the game or the community and stuff like that. But if they could, back in the day, you just think of Halo when it originated. The matchmaking from Halo 3, the Forge from Halo 3, the matchmaking from Halo 2, the Forge in Halo 3. Like they were really able to kind of innovate and figure out ways that we didn't even know figure out things we didn't know we needed that made a real difference. And, under Microsoft, you'd hope they could take these tools and like this endless amount of content, endless amount of things you can do there. And it's like, let's just figure out, let's build some sort of system that really kind of plays off of this. Right. And makes it's got to be intuitive. It's got to be simple. It can't be, you can't have people work too hard for it or they're not going to go to it. Right. And that's the big challenge. Because today I don't feel like after season 3, I think there was some positive reception, but it does feel like it's just kind of like everybody's gone back to what they were doing, right? It does feel like we're kind of back in the same state we were before.
But you know what, Abe? I feel like maybe that's just kind of where the game is at. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
and
sure.
Halo's not the only game to be there, right? A lot of games hit this point where they're not in the top of the leaderboards player-wise.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
they have a base big enough to support their content, to support more development, and they stick with it. So I feel like maybe Infinite's just reaching that point where it's like, hey, this is
Halo deserves better though.
Mike stole what I was.
I mean, if the other side is stop all development for 5 years, don't get a single Halo update for the next 6, 7, or 5 years,
Wait,
we get a new game. What I mean is, like, rather than moving the whole team over onto a new game, which they would have done.
Oh no, I'm not saying.
No. I'm not talking about that at all.
Yeah.
What I mean is, I feel like they kind of. How do I phrase it? It's kind of like this is it. You know what I mean? Like these seasonal updates, they're not going to set the world on fire. They're going to just keep the player base that's already playing.
Yeah, that's likely, but that doesn't make it any less disappointing. Because Halo deserves better. Halo could have been in a better spot now, because I don't buy the excuse or the reasoning or however way you want to frame it that it's because it's an arena shooter. Because it's not a Call of Duty. Because when Infinite first came out, everyone loved it. Like it was great. Like there was a lot of buzz, a lot of positivity, a lot of praise over how the game feels and plays and everything like that. It was just the long-standing, lingering issues and the slow content drip that just if those things weren't an issue, then there's no doubt in my mind that Halo would be much higher up into the play charts today, despite it being an arena shooter. Because
higher for sure, but I don't think it would have competed with the big boys even then.
Well, yeah, I think the BR is like is its own beast, right?
Well, not just BRs. You also have Roblox and friggin' GTA 5, right?
Yeah, I look at I'm not going to compare it to those.
I look at Destiny.
It would be around Destiny probably, and I think that'd be good. Yeah,
and I think that's a good bar for it, and I think that when you say it deserves better, and we just talked about the Forge stuff, the fact that you have these thousands of maps that people are spending freaking weeks building and things like that, the fact that you have this base that does care that much, it does feel like there's still, in my opinion, there is, I don't know what that is. But in my opinion, somebody creative, somebody who can build. We talked about that challenge system. That is the most uncreative, just like somebody pulled this out of the data says that people like the challenge system in these other games. So
I could see them doing it like, this would be cool if we had them do this. I kind of like this extra thing. But when you tie the entire goddamn progression to the challenge system, it's no longer an extra thing anymore.
It's almost like they had ChatGPT figure out the challenge system.
Well,
here you go.
but you know, like that's the crazy thing about it. It's like, you know, Halo could have its own unique progression system built around all these different things that encourages people to play whatever they want and somehow makes people feel. I mean, how come I can jump into Forza and I'm always, which is not a super gas game. I know it has some gas elements, but always it figures out how to keep people hooked on that because it's always rewarding people. But you play Halo and it's like, I got to go do this thing that I have it's no fun. I mean, it doesn't really feel like Halo.
Forza's also like, oh, cool, another car.
I know,
put in my
I know,
garage and never use ever in my entire life.
Just, the point is like there's probably a better way to do it to tie it in there, right?
Yes.
And better ways to support Forge. Go ahead, Nick, you were saying something.
I was gonna say it's like with the event stuff and everything, and like the progression system. Like honestly, that's what killed the playing a lot of this game for me. It just ends up making it feel like it's too much work. Like, I'm still trying to grind away at the season 2 challenge, the battle pass. Yeah, thank you. And because I want the helmets and stuff in there because they're close to what I want for my style. And it's just like, because it sucks too, because I know when they announced how the cosmetics and everything was going to work is a lot different than what we have now. And I'm a big cosmetics guy, and I love the way that Reach did it, and was what was promised. And like the fact that I have to grind through everything is like, man.
But Reach was like the grindiest Halo game ever. I played it online. I wanted the pencilless effect. I had to save up my points for months. To get that effect.
It was still rewarding.
Was it though? Basically, I couldn't spend it on anything because I was saving up for the pestilence effect. So in other words, no armor, no cool fancy abilities. I'm only going for this one effect. And I got to play for weeks till I get it.
Yeah, but you at least had a decent selection on the offset.
Yeah,
unlike Infinite.
I mean, I could be an elite. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But Infinite has a bunch of free cores and free events and stuff.
Well, people, I think it's not just the amount of time too. It's just making it feel like you're progressing, giving you stuff along the way. You know,
but it didn't though. But Reach didn't give you things along the way. You couldn't buy anything because you were saving up for one item, right? Unless I'm misremembering.
How many times did you have to backsmack a guy to get your thing though? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, there was a lot more of a trade-off with the Reach thing. It's like you would have to save up some credits and stuff, but at least you could save up your tokens and figure out like, oh, okay, I want to get this and stuff. This is kind of what I'm like aiming for, rather than having to, okay, I have to go like do this,
through the whole
steps. This and this. Yeah. You kind of got to skip ahead a little bit more.
I like how MCC does it a little bit, where you choose between like the current tier you're on. I like that, even though you got to get all of them before you go on to the next, which is kind of not cool. But
yeah, that's the north part.
Yeah, right. It should be like half.
Plus, like, wasn't the effects in Reach kind of like, I guess for lack of better terms, end game type of content?
Well, how do I know their end game if I can buy them right off the bat?
So, like, you know, like you were kind of jump starting to like the highest tier stuff, whereas like from what I even then, you know, to be fair to 343, I wasn't much of a fan of the effects in Reach, even though I think it was only 2 or 3 of them or something.
There's a lightning effect, which is sick. I really like.
Yeah, there was. I couldn't stand it. But that to me, same thing like what I say now. To me, that wasn't Halo, but whatever. I'm not gonna.
Moving forward,
yeah.
So those are the opportunities. You might be right. So like this might be it but it still feels like there's a lot of.
Did Reach have WXP? Sorry, no, right?
Did it have what?
Yeah,
WXP or stuff like that, like.
I don't know.
Little packs?
Maybe.
No, right? I don't think it did. But what I'm saying is,
packs. I think
you could release Halo Reach today, and if you had WXP things purchasable, people will say they made it grindier for people to buy the WXP. And you could leave it exactly the same as it is. You know, that's kind of my issue with going back at these games and like equating them directly. Is a lot of them were really grindy.
Maybe.
I think it all depends on what you're aiming for, because I never considered it a grind for the armor that I wanted. And once I got the armor I wanted, I was happy. I didn't give a crap about it.
I mean, I just went through the shop and I looked at the thing that looked the coolest. And I'm like, I want this. Then I'm like, I can't get this. Stuff like
yeah, or like what I enjoyed too, and like even to go back to Halo 3 and stuff, is is like you can grind towards a specific thing. Like you had to do certain challenges to unlock. I kind of wish they would bring some of that back too, because then that way you like, you know, if I get the armor I want, I'm set.
Yeah,
and like that's what I want.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Have to go through all
that's
the other
fair.
BS.
Yeah.
The thing that I can't stress enough, in my opinion, is that Halo is always at its best when it's Halo, when it doesn't try to be like something else, and or doesn't follow something else to the degree where and the progression system is a perfect example of that. And that kind of goes back to what I think you said, Abe, where hopefully they can innovate or do something fresh in that area, and and that's been like the ongoing, I don't want to call it frustration, but just the ongoing thing, like the lingering thing with me and Infinite, and kind of 343 Halos in general, is that they haven't innovated like they used to. And I know it's harder to innovate than it was 10 years ago or whatnot, but like
Halo Infinite has like
there's nothing infinite or innovative.
I mean, look at the coatings. The coatings are way more innovative than my colors red and blue.
Would not call that innovative.
No, literally every single previous Halo game had what? You selected 2, maybe 3 tints. 1 for Halo CE, right? That's the opposite of innovative. Did it have a full color wheel? I think it was like pre-selected. No, some of them had a full color wheel. I can't remember exactly. But either way, that's PC, like the most.
PC,
yeah,
CC,
okay. That's like the most least innovative thing possible, because it's been the exact same thing for 5 damn Halo games. You know what I mean?
But iterating on something that they already implemented is one thing. Like that was just an
what iteration? It was 2 things in Halo 2. It was 2 in Halo 3. I think it was 2 in Halo Reach. Like what I would do is I'd start the game, I'd go to my Spartan, I'd say red and a cool shade of black there, and I never touch it ever again, like not even once.
And yeah, but you at least have the option to do that, though. You don't have the option to do red and black how you want to do it now.
Yeah, instead I have a super sick Gundam skin I got in the first 2 weeks of playing, and I've used for like months in this game.
I had to wait until this season for them to release just a gray and blue. That's what my colors were: primary gray and secondary blue.
So that's the issue, and I definitely
get long to release.
Is for a lot of the Halo families, they had their colors, right?
Yeah,
and they're like, "This is my color," and like you come to Halo Infinite, you're like, "What the hell is this?" Yeah, these are all cool, they're different, whatever. It's not mine, and a lot of times they charge it. Like White Bone was like $10 in the store. Right? I definitely get that. That being said, I think overall, Infinite has, I think, the best player expression out of any Halo game. All the different cores, all the different coatings.
There's a lot more.
Now, maybe, at launch now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think the issue is that it doesn't really even matter what the coatings and stuff are. Like if the system is like the progression's still not fun, people are not going to want to go through that process.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like there's opportunities there. I think like even if it is like, hey, we are going to do this for, let's say we're going to go through 6 seasons and then we're going to pivot over to the next game. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying let's just.
I mean, they are making movement, right? Like they added tiers to the medals. That has to be in prep of like possibly giving XP based on the higher tiered medals. Things like that.
Just start like figure out ways, and like Halo-esque ways to do things. Like let people wear like different medals for I want to have the ultimate medal for headshots or some shit like that. There's a lot of stuff they could do there. There's also like we talked about all the Forge stuff. So there's still things that they could experiment with, and even if there is plans to move to another game, sooner than expected, now's the time to experiment with those things and see what works and what doesn't, and do that within Halo, right? And use this as sort of like
so here's a question, and it's something I've kind of been playing with myself. I think I've agreed with it. I don't. God damn it! It's like the third time I've used that phrase. By the way, do not show this to my friends. But anyways, there's this. I don't know if I need another Halo multiplayer.
What?
I don't know if I need Halo 7, whatever it is, to release with its own
multiplayer. I see what you're saying.
Again.
If it's just,
I feel like they could just keep iterating on Infinite, really fix it, really hammer it home, make it the home of Halo multiplayer in general, and just focus on campaign only for the next one.
It's weird. I agree with you, but I think market-wise, that won't go over well.
Yeah.
Like if they kept on, if they kept what we assumed they were going to do, and they just had like a full campaign-sized expansion within Infinite's
then it would have worked. I'd bring people back to Infinite for the campaign.
Yeah. Then but if you're going to release Halo, which I'm kind of curious what they're going to call it, because it seems like
Halo
2.
Like other than Infinite Plus One.
They're not going to do Halo Infinite 2. They're not going to touch Infinite name wise. It's clear that they are trying to move away from numerical titles because 5 had Guardians, and then now Infinite doesn't have any number associated. So I don't see them going with Halo 7. So is it going to be just another Halo subtitle?
I think because the idea for going to Infinite was supposed to be that it was like supposed to be the
platform,
more the games like the platform games as a service kind of thing. That's why the whole 10-year plan was announced. And so but then again, you look back to at Destiny, and they said the same thing with Destiny, that they had the 10-year plan and all that, and then we got Destiny 2.
Which had the same problems Destiny 1 had at launch.
That's why when they announced the whole 10-year thing, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, no, why? Like, have you not learned anything from Bungie?
Also, Nick, what's up? Nick's in the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Other
Nick.
Hi, other Nick.
Oh, what's up?
Hi, other Nick.
You missed your picture earlier.
Oh yeah, you should bring that up again.
I didn't think it would auto update.
Go ahead and buffer back, other Nick. You'll see yourself make a guest appearance. It's beautiful.
2 of you.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's what, Mike, it kind of sucks because you're right. Like purely in terms of like marketing, player count wise, it makes more sense to release a brand new game. But I don't know, man. I feel like if they make a new Halo, they'll probably move away from the more classic Halo feeling, and I don't like that. I feel like Infinite was struck this really nice balance between the two.
Wait, I'm sorry. What'd you say? I got distracted by.
So what I'm saying is, if they make a new Halo, I don't think they'd stick with the more classic feeling gameplay Infinite sometimes has. I feel like they'd completely.
I would hope they would, because it seemed like one of the things that people loved most about Infinite was that it's the closest that 343 has gotten to a classic Halo while still also being fresh in its own way. Yeah.
You would hope, but sometimes they read the room, they misdraw, like they miss on the cause and the effect of things. Is that the right? Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
there you are, Nick.
So what if they had multiplayer, but it was like an evolution of what we have in Infinite?
Halo Infinite 2.0.
Yeah. Like fresh maps, obviously fresh maps outside of maybe some
it's just
favorites that are coming back.
We've had this discussion before, but no way you release a brand new game with every single thing people want and expect from the series. Not anymore. It's just not going to happen.
No, yes, you can.
You can't, man.
I will not ever. I will never accept people lowering their standards because a corporation wants to push out a game before it's complete. I will never accept that. Never. I mean, I'm happy that I don't fault you for believing that. And honestly, the how the market is, there's some truth to that, but it's not something I'm happy about at all.
So, I know we are I think we're past your hard stop, Soul, which we expected.
Oh, I thought he said 9:30.
My bad. No, that's a soft limit of 9. So I'm good.
Oh, good. I have like a 20-minute rant. I want
my mic God, these stupid cables are awful.
So Nick, real quick. So we'll pivot over so just roll I think we were able to incorporate some of your experience and stuff throughout the show. So we probably
I tried to sprinkle it because I know we ramble.
Yeah, we do.
Dude, sorry, we talk so much. You gotta just see how I just talked over Abe there. You gotta
you see how he cut me off rudely. That's like
I just cut him off again. You gotta just
wow.
Yeah, Nick. No, definitely ramble away. We all do.
Yeah, honestly, man, we've been talking for it's been 2 years or something already, dude. We need more voices anyways. So
I'll be sure to jump in a little bit more.
But no, we appreciate having you. Go ahead and let everybody know what you're doing with Xbox Era, and you really didn't get a chance to talk about besides the 343. You're part of Forge Hub, so you have a lot of experience with that, and you were As we talked about earlier, you had experience working with the Forge team at 343, over there. So, kind of just fill everybody in. What your plans are with Xbox Era and
So
anything else.
So I was brought on to Xbox Era to help become the operations lead. I think we decided on that title. I was going back and forth with Sick. I'm just like, I want a cool title, so operations lead, but it also kind of incorporates like a lot of what I'm going to be doing for the team. So I'm going to oversee all the operations of Forge Era. That's like with the any like future lobbies, community like tweets and stuff, and the putting up maps, featuring maps. That's the word, and all those kind of aspects, and then hopefully be able to expand a bit more as well. Like right now, it's kind of a slower start because I think like when I was really going to start getting into all this was after April, after the robotics season's done. It's like next week I'll be in Houston for the Worlds competition. So, it's like,
nice.
It's busy month.
Wait, your team has made it? Your team made it to Worlds?
Yep. Yeah, we made it to
Holy
Worlds.
crap. Good stuff, man.
And just barely too. So.
Making is making it, bro. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think I originally wasn't supposed to join the team until after I had a little bit more free time, but some things changed early on, and then Sick just brought me on to the team earlier than what originally planned, but it kind of allowed me to settle in a bit more, and I managed to help us get a Discord. Stuff
instantly, dude.
Yeah.
That was efficient, man. That was like we were talking about it and it was all done.
Yeah. Speaking of those listening, we do have a community Discord server. The invite link, I'll post it in the chat for anyone who doesn't have it. We talk a lot. It's fun. Join.
Yeah.
And
argue.
Argue away.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. I feel like.
No, people are doing pretty well in there.
Yeah.
But that's because I didn't post. If I would have done it, you would have all kicked me. That's a different story. No, it's awesome, man, having you with us. And I know a lot of times, you have things that are conflicts on Thursdays, but anytime you don't, feel free to jump in, man. Like, it is really cool. It's really cool to get a little bit of that perspective sprinkled in from somebody that was, with 343 that does have, that knows people that have kind of gone through certain things. And
that isn't just like a keyboard.
We'll try to get you to break NDAs eventually along the way here. But anytime, man, that you can fit it in, come and join us on our when we roll on a Thursday. I think something that we are planning to come up here as we move up to E3 is we are going to have one of those reactions to some of the the E3 all the E3 Halo reveals and any sort of big reveals from. I mean,
as Halo Infinite reaches a stable point, there's not really too much to talk about it every other week, other than I played it, had fun, cool. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and so we're gonna dive a little bit into some of that stuff too, right? Just kind of looking back and it's fun to kind of explore the franchise, but who knows? So there could be some. Obviously, we're gonna have another season coming up in June, right? Mm-hmm. So we should have some interesting stuff there as well.
Probably next month we should have some info on season. Actually, no, maybe June, because it's releasing like end of June, so they might wait till June to talk about season 4.
Yeah.
So they might,
And obviously, as interesting things start breaking for Forge that would be an interest to our community. We, one of the things we want to do is as that gets better, especially the custom games, man, fix the custom games. We definitely want to start. We want anybody who's listening to this podcast, jump on the forums, get into the thread, or or our Discord. I think that actually might be a better way to try to get them to join in on the community nights and look forward to pulling everybody together to start messing around with some of the cool shit that's in there.
Speaking of community nights, can we pick a date right now? Just throw a date out, schedule it, and try and work around it. Because the last time we did it, I literally did it the night before. Because I'm like, screw it, we talk about it too much. Let's just do it. You want to try? You want to try picking a date and seeing if we can do it?
You can pick a date, and hopefully I'll be there. I play my life 1 hour at a time here, so that's how it goes.
All right,
I'm happy to be the driver on that and host it and everything.
Yeah, dude,
I want to get back into the whole streaming thing.
Yeah, Mike, that'd be amazing, man.
I don't mind sitting for 5 hours and
I want to get back into like doing custom games and stuff too. Especially if I get to be, running up for Jera.
We can have
I want to try to do a lot more custom games.
Yeah,
so,
you know what,
Nick? Then
we can have a conversation behind the scenes on custom games, maps, like that BR stuff that we were talking about.
We could even make like community streams like a regular thing, like every third Wednesday, whatever.
That's what That's what I would like to do, is have stuff become a little bit more regular, so that way, people can get more content and see more of our faces.
Okay, so we won't pick a date today. That was me just moving things along, and hey, it worked. All right, we'll work on the behind the scenes. We'll try and figure out some dates, and we'll let you guys know before a day.
But that is actually a really cool call out, Nick. Like, hey, we're gonna try Halo's BR. We got people out there scripting stuff, doing really it's so. We don't even touch enough about it on this show, and I think maybe we need to start highlighting some of the things. But there is just some. There is
a creator highlight thing, as a segment for one of the shows.
There is some really amazing things that right now are just not easily known about, and accessible. So we need to kind of bring some of that stuff to the forefront, and it's going to be interesting when they start plugging in some of the AI into the Forge as well, right? Like, you don't even have to be if you don't want to play a super sweaty against, hey, you haven't played in a while and you don't want to get shown up. Like, we could start. You might have some self-made firefight stuff in the future.
I mean, there's even some Forge
people really want. So that's what people really want, and I was gonna say too for the you mentioned earlier, it's like once Halo kind of becomes more stable, it'll be a little bit harder to talk about stuff. Well, that's where we can probably start pivoting into more of the community side of things. The stuff that is going to always be constantly updating and awesome ass stuff coming out. So. That's
and maybe dive a little bit more into the esports side, maybe a little bit. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. But
we'll get feedback from you.
Weird. I don't follow the esports scene at all. But anytime I stumble across it, I always enjoy it.
Halo's a really easy game to watch. Like that's one of the biggest strengths I think it has as an esport.
Well, I mean in general, but Halo and stuff. I probably lean more towards fighting games, really. But even Halo, all that stuff, like outside of Overwatch, I don't even know if there's a esports with Overwatch, but
there is. It's really big, but it's hard to watch personally. I've had trouble watching Overwatch.
I can play Overwatch and have fun, but watching it's
I have trouble watching.
Seizure inducing.
I've trouble watching any kind of esports.
No, Overwatch.
Okay. Yeah.
Like watching any kind of esports for me is like. I'm like, man, why am I not that good?
You know what? I feel it.
And I get discouraged, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
My old ass has gotten over that hump pretty much a long time ago.
The no scope after no scope snipes that we were watching. What's his name? Optic pulling off the last.
Yeah.
I was like, my game is broken. Don't do that.
I'm reminded every time I see Mint Blitz do a tweet or a video or something, and he's got that shock rifle just pegging, picking people off left and right.
I kind of just had that recently. It's not as like undoable as it seems. When you're so far away, you kind of just like cling.
Yeah, no, it's totally doable. I just suck.
I will vouch for Mike on that one. All right, guys.
Well, it's like this is the strongest weapon in the game. I grab it, I miss 6 shots and die, and I'm like, I would have done better at the pistol. I'm just saying.
I think we'll still have some interesting things to talk about in the future because I think there's still a lot of stuff up in the air. Like, we don't know if Microsoft is going to pivot from this quicker than we, let's just say they're going to go run this for a few more seasons and then start pivoting. Or if they catch lightning in a bottle again. You just never know.
Yeah. We don't know if/when Firefight's releasing. Is it releasing next year? Is it still being worked on? There's a lot of things we still
Can you start throwing some interesting progression into that?
And we don't know anything about Season 5, right? Like, we knew a fair bit about Season 4. The Bandit leaked early. We knew some of the maps. I guess we know some of the leaked maps.
No, we're in Season 3.
Firefight.
Yeah.
Firefight wasn't what do you call it?
Say it again.
Oberman. That's not his team. They weren't working on that, right? They were working on something else.
They're working on the BR thing, which we don't even know if that's been rebooted or canceled or anything right
Unreal,
now.
not Unreal. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's just been so many changes that even the things that were rumored to be true might be up in the air because, there's, again, and Nick, I guess maybe you can come back into Silhouette sometime and talk about it so you don't have to say anything. But
we're going to welcome our guest, Mr. X.
I mean, because there was rumors they weren't so sure about what was going on with the BR anymore, if that was really the right decision.
I feel like even from like what I knew is like, I of course knew about it a long time ago. And so when they, so when I heard about it online and stuff, I was just like, I didn't know that it was actually announced. I heard it through other people. I'm like, where'd they hear that name from? It's like, because we knew that we just wanted to do it a while ago, but I was like, I think, I don't know exactly when it started, but even at the studio, we didn't, or at least I'd never heard a lot of it, just mainly the name and just, we want to do this. Right? So that's why after I was out of the studio and I heard the name, I was just like, I don't remember them.
I told you this.
Announcing anything. It's like, yeah.
Stupid, naive me. I remember, I forgot who, someone on Twitter asked about Halo BR. And I had like a 3-tweet thread detailing how I would do Battle Royale. And that caught a little bit of traction because the dude retweeted it saying like, this guy knows whatever. And I saved a screenshot of that. And I forgot who on the multiplayer team, but I remember DMing them on Twitter saying, hey, if you guys are hiring, I will work for peanuts pretty much just to get in the game industry.
Just get into the game space.
Yeah.
That's why I did. I worked for peanuts just to get into the door.
But
for the BR though, as you said, like you always hear of people that have ideas for it, and honestly, I have no idea what it's going to be. Like, I think the only information I ever knew about it was that they want to do a BR and what the project name of it was, and that the Certain Affinity was going to like be working on it. But I always thought it would be cool, like to have the encounters and something that, with the ring fracturing instead of the zones closing in.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Parts of the ring just like fly off.
It's funny. I had a friend that said something similar where like the rings would fall down and then
that's cool.
And my idea was the ring would be flood spores. And then then if you died outside the ring, you turn into a flood.
Ooh, that would be sweet.
Like an AI controlled flood, and then they would just kind of, and then you had banished, because like I don't know if you guys played PUBG, but they had mortar strikes, and that's kind of like shake it up and stuff, so you don't. And I figured the equivalent in Halo can be just like a banished drop ship that comes down and just kind of mixes things up,
counters and stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of potential with Halo BR, so much.
Yeah, and that it's the weirdest thing because typically, again, like I want Halo to be Halo. I don't like them following trends, and I hate Battle Royale just being stuck in everything. Like when they announced it for Battlefield, I rolled my eyes. When they announced it for Fallout, I rolled my eyes. But like for whatever Fallout
has a battle. Fallout 76 is a Battle Royale.
It used to. It doesn't have anymore.
What?
I'm fairly positive that it was like maybe a Battle Royale light, but
something.
I'm pretty sure it had a mode that got removed later because it just was not. But for whatever reason, Battle Royale and Halo to me just seems like such a perfect fit.
It's because the combat, man. Halo has such goddamn good combat.
The combat, the vehicles, the biome opportunities. Yeah. The only criteria I have is you have to be ODST, not Spartans.
Yes, and you're not going to be an ODST,
and you have to follow because like having a rechargeable shield just doesn't make sense to me in a battle royale where part of the tension comes from you being on that brink of death or knowing that you can die so easily. That's one of the things I'm not a fan of Warzone. Like, yeah, they got the armor and stuff, but you have rechargeable health, and it just lessens the tension for me. Whereas some of the most tense moments in a battle royale game for me was like in PUBG where I think I'm safe, but I hear someone in the next room all of a sudden. Yeah. And I know
PUBG's incomparable. It's the amount of tension you have in PUBG, none of the other BRs have that. Like you'll hear like a twig crack and like, oh crap, like someone's in my vicinity. Like what is going on?
And you know that even that one-on-one could be life or death. Whereas if you're really good in say like Call of Duty, you can pretty much smoke someone one-on-one.
I got a bit of that in Halo Infinite. There is this random custom game called Daisy. I'm like, sure, let me click it. I click it. It's just a giant empty map, man. Like I'm walking for like 5 minutes. I don't see a single person. And then I see someone in the way back. I'm like, oh crap. I crouch. I go like super slow next to them. Like, barely win the duel. But no, I see what you mean, Mike.
So a lot of potential in the future.
Yes.
Potential.
Squirrel.
Just
and yes, Mark, we meant
we got to see what happens with the BR. We got to see if ABK when that finally goes through, if that's going to allow if that's going to mean that Microsoft puts less attention or more on Halo, if they leverage some of the opportunities with MLG and things like that. So there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we still don't know. So we'll have some things to catch up on for sure. But I think if we don't have anything by in a few weeks, then we will definitely want to run through some of the classic stuff, classic content.
Dude, if our reaction
E3
goes well,
or whatever you call it,
let's do it all. Let's do it all. Let's do every trailer. Let's do every commercial. Let's do everything.
I figure we can make a whole episode out of it, or 2 episodes. Because you got the Macworld reveal where Bungie came out and showed Halo for the first time at Macworld.
Yeah.
You got the infamous Halo 2 demo.
I'd have to set it up with like there's a link or something where I can send you a YouTube video and I play it and it plays for everyone. So I'd probably have to set something like that up, but it's perfectly doable. It's not too difficult. And we don't got to do like weird fancy crap where like we do like weird colors and stuff because it's just a commercial or a trailer. They're not NDA'd or whatever. So we should be fine there too.
All right, but let's you're half hour over your soft limit.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm only getting +1 HP every minute.
So let's close up. So wrap it up.
I totally forgot it was gonna be me again. Usually I have a little notepad, but before I wrap it up, Nick, we already asked, but like anything you're working on somewhat soonish, or that people can look forward to, or where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on my Twitter handle. It's here on screen. Nick at Nick_the Birdman. Haven't been working on anything too lately, but I have released some Stargate. There it is.
There it is. This camera's throwing me off. My bad.
So like Stargate prefabs because I'm a huge fan of the Stargate series.
Cool.
Nice.
So I've tried to like make the most accurate Stargate, and I released that earlier this year. So check out my Twitter for that. I want to try to get more into Forge. I have some ideas, and like I might work with Max Extra on the map. We have a map idea, but life got in the way. So but yeah, no. So you'll probably see me. I'm gonna be trying to hit up more custom game lobbies and stuff.
Nice.
Towards the end of the
Always
month, a bit more, and then gonna try to figure out some stuff for us to do our own like custom games here. Custom lobby nights.
So,
awesome,
good, man.
What about you, Mike? You got anything coming up in the pipeline?
I was originally working on a Resident Evil 4 comparison video, and then I had to help some friends out for about over a week and a half, so that got delayed. And then I was in the middle of that, and then they updated it and made pretty much week's worth of work nearly irrelevant. So I pivoted to do a launch versus update comparison because
that's smart.
There's Capcom kind of screwed the pooch on this update, especially on the Series S. It's pretty fucking atrocious. I'd say damn near broken. It's bad. It's very bad. We're talking like the highest level LOD popping in like 2 feet in front of Leon.
Oh my god!
And textures just not loading, like looking there straight out of the PS2 era. Like it's all in my video. It'll
change again the night you're going to release it.
So I know.
You gotta get the thing out ASAP.
I'm hoping to get it out Saturday. I have to work this weekend.
That's not too bad.
So Saturday, Sunday-ish. It also depends on what else we're publishing because we're limited on that. Yeah. But I got that. That's pretty much what I'm cooking on now. Hopefully soon.
Abe, I'm not gonna make a joke about you being on a ton of podcasts because me not making it was me making it. So what have you been up to?
No, actually, I had been kind of taking a little bit of a break from the podcast thing. I'll probably jump on again, other things soon. But actually, I am working on some content. Was working on for the studios for Arcane and Bethesda.
Oh yeah.
Ironically, before Arcane became the
Persona Grata. Is that the right term?
Like
enemy number one.
Something, yeah. But so I don't know. Like now, basically, it's very, very interesting for anybody that is sort of interested in Arcane now with the being under the Microsoft Game Studios. Really interesting history. I mean, basically, they almost released a Half-Life game. So there's some crazy stuff in their history. Spinoff. It was a spinoff. Right?
Yeah, their art director. You can see some. Yeah, their art director was from Valve. Their art lead or whatever when the team first started. And you can see a lot of that influence with Dishonored.
Dishonored for sure.
Yeah.
So very very interesting storied developer. It looks like they're going to stay interesting if this week's any indication. So
yeah,
that's actually pretty cool. And dude, you got good timing. Like Redfall releases in what, a month? It's not
that was the intention.
3 weeks.
The intention was to release it before they delayed it. No, I mean, who knows
I was like, what? I real quick, I do have to say it's kind of a weird look where there's talk about Redfall being delayed, and then today they announced that
Suicide Squad,
Justice League. Yeah,
I know people say it's only 3 weeks, man. You're sandwiched between Jedi and Zelda. Delay it so I have more time to put this thing together. But
I mean, delay it till July.
Let's
assume.
August, let's assume that Forza's like August. Make it the end of July. Make it July time frame. That gives it a nice buffer between that and Diablo. A nice cadence.
But I think for the dev's sake, releasing is probably the better thing to do. Just release the damn game, and then, dude, you delay a game a month. What happens? You crunch for another month. That's it.
Who's to say they're crunching though? No,
if it's stuff. Another month is time that they can use to squash bugs, which is
definitely
needed.
Remove the online.
But I mean, like, remember not Staten. Oh my God, what's his name? Schreier had a pretty good piece on this, where he's like, a lot of times when games get released, delayed just a few months, it just means another month of like hardcore crunching.
But that's assuming they're crunching to begin with.
I mean, any deadline-based project is going to be working longer hours in the last month, right? That's just the nature of the job. Any job like that.
I mean,
if you're like a week before your deadline, you're going to be working harder in that last week, right? Just kind of how it goes.
Then give them more than 3 months.
It all depends.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a different podcast. We'll have to jump on. We'll have to crash Nick and John and fight with them or fight on that podcast.
Yeah. So, and finally, I am not really working on much lately. I'm kind of focusing on graduating, hopefully within a couple weeks.
Oh yeah. Congrats.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, please. But
you can do it.
But with May coming up, we're basically hitting like that time period for Xbox or just game content creators where it's like the most interest, the most things. So keep an eye on the channel. We'll probably have a bunch of videos, prediction videos, things like that coming out all the time. But yeah, that is everyone. There's a link in the chat for the Discord, community Discord. We just started 19 days ago. It's already decently populated. We have our forums as well, where you could have asked us questions if I hadn't put the post about a minute before we went live. And of course we have a Patreon where if you enjoy any of our content, even like $3-4 really helps. It helps keep the website alive, helps keeps the forums alive, and helps us possibly do things like fly down for events, things like that.
Helps pay for my Ferrari.
Yeah, eventually, right?
Right.
But yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Yes.
See you. Wait, we're still live. Still live. Still live.